Hello everyone, my name is George Potosky and I've been with GE Multilink for 12 years. My expertise is focused on protection and control. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we start, I just wanted to give you a brief rundown of how GE webinars work. We typically build a storyboard working with various subject matter experts to determine what the precise content should be. From there, we pre-record as much content as possible to make the session smoother for the students. Next, we simply combine our recorded content with live instructor Q&As throughout the session to ensure we don't miss any student concerns. Two questions that often come up are, first, why are we using WebEx for video and the phone line for audio? Bandwidth tends to vary tremendously worldwide, and we found that this setup delivers the best performance for all participants. The second question is, will this session be made available online? The answer is yes, it will be. More information on this will be provided at the end of this webinar. I hope that addresses your concerns, so let's get started. Welcome to the GE Digital Energy Learning and Development channel. This presentation will provide an overview of GE EnerVista. The phones will be muted until the end, where we will unmute the phones for a question and answer session. This presentation has been set up as a training module. As per all our training modules, we want to measure your success, and a short quiz will be provided at the end of the module. We are setting standards and guidelines to ensure the learning experience is the best they can be. So, without further ado, let's get started. First of all, what is EnerVista? EnerVista is an umbrella name that encompasses an industry-leading suite of software tools designed to simplify every aspect of working with GE Multilink devices. There are several software tools available to significantly reduce efforts and streamline operations. It allows us to create and validate settings files and integrate GE Multilink devices with automation systems. It also allows us to monitor and control devices to protect end assets. We can access all the EnerVista products at the link you see here, www.gegedigitalenergy.com/multilens/EnerVista. Here we can find our suite of EnerVista applications with a description of functionality, and is also available for download. There are licensed and free, no-charge applications available. The licensed applications have a trial period that have all the functionality available for a limited time. After the time limit, the program will lock you out and request a license number. All others are free of charge. Now, here's a list of the EnerVista products. EnerVista consists of the following applications: launchpad, Viewpoint monitoring, Viewpoint engineer, Viewpoint maintenance, integrator, and all the PNC relay setup programs. The first application we'll look at is the EnerVista launchpad. EnerVista launchpad is a software that is a powerful tool set used for the complete support and management of Multilink products. Support applications include product software, firmware, manuals, product advisories, and settings file management used to ensure your important files are kept up to date and easily accessible. The site management allows you to properly maintain your asset and devices by providing real-time diagnostic data and reports. This is the main screen of EnerVista launchpad. It is broken down into three sections: the main dialog, software and document management, and site management. The main dialog consists of resource update, EnerVista suite, register, about, and help. Let's take a look at each one. The resource update button displays the overall status of whether resources are up to date. When you click this button, you get updates or configure Launchpad's updating process. The resources that are monitored can be found under subscriptions. If the resource update LED is green, it has been configured for scheduled download and the resources are up to date. If the resource LED is red, either one or more resources are not configured for download or updates are available. Now, once you go inside, you'll see there's three categories: one for service bulletins, support documents, and setup programs. Each category has its color states: gray, which indicates scheduled download has not been configured; red, indicates that an update is available, and green indicates that all the updates, all the resources are up to date. The Resource Update tab allows us to go in and configure these three items. The service bulletin, support documents, and setup programs. Right now they're gray because I don't have anything configured. When I select configure, this will automatically go into the subscriptions tab. We'll talk more about that later. The configuration, once I select this, brings up this screen. You can see here it's flashing add edit products. Let's go down, we'll select the F60. And we'll select the three different items. So this is the service bulletins, the support documents, and the setup programs. Click on save. It will now put check marks under these columns. I have a choice of either doing it manually or I can schedule it. If I select on, then I can schedule it for different times of the week and different time intervals. Between this time and this time to be checking for any updates. So I'm going to turn this back to off, do it manually. I have a choice of either selecting it for check for updates or do a download now. I'm going to do check for updates. I can do it either from a CD or from the web. Let's select web. So here's the different things that are available. I'm going to go something, I'm not going to pick the latest and greatest for the UR. So I'll take something that's outdated. And I'll pick one other item here. So I won't select the setup programs on purpose. As I click on download, this is now going to update. It's telling me I've downloaded my files. And I'm going to close this. We'll come back to this. I'll close this, open it up again, and it provides an update indicating that I have all the latest and greatest service bulletins. My support documents are not up to date. There's some new ones available, and the same thing with the setup programs. The EnerVista Suite button allows users to launch various EnerVista softwares from launchpads such as Viewpoint Monitoring, Viewpoint Engineering, Viewpoint Maintenance, and Integrator. So from the EnerVista Suite, we can come here, we can select the four different applications. The first one is Viewpoint Monitoring. So if we were to select it and it was installed in our computer, we would be able to go directly to that link and it would execute the Viewpoint Monitoring application. The next one is Viewpoint Engineer. We have the three different choices are here: UR Engineer, UR Plus Engineer, and MM300. Engineer can be launched from here. Next one is Viewpoint Maintenance. If this were installed on my computer, then I would be able to launch it directly from a launchpad. And last but not least, the Integrator program. If I had it installed, I would be able to launch it from here as well. So that's what the suite, the EnerVista Suite button is about. The Register menu item allows users to register devices with GE Multilin. To register your device, to provide GE Multilin with your contact name, the company name, phone number, and email address. Then check the register box and click register. This information is used to provide services within the provisions of your warranty. GE Digital Energy uses this email address to notify you about product advisory notifications on firmware, software, and hardware. So here we have the actual launchpad. Under register, we select this, you put in your name, the company name, your phone number, email address, and you select auto registration service, select register, and it's done. So by default, this is unselected. If you don't want this record to be collected, then you can just as easily select the unsubscribe from auto registration service. Are you sure? Yes, I want to unregister. Select yes, and that's taken care of. The About tab shows the Launchpad version information and a button to send email to GE. So here we have the launchpad. If we select About, gives us our version number, the release date of the software, and we can also send an email out to the technical support group if we're having any issues with the software. So we select on feedback. It opens up Microsoft Outlook. So it opens up the email and sent directly to multilin.tech. Reason for the problem. Here you can put on your information. Having problems with, so forth, so on. And everything down here, further down the body of the email, indicates your system configurations so they can try and help to troubleshoot whatever problems you're experiencing with the system. Okay. The Help button launches the help file for EnerVista. In EnerVista, so here in the launchpad, when we open up the help file, it will give us the text that's associated with the launchpad, going through the main dialog, going through the software and document management, the site software, and some notes on troubleshooting and tips. Okay, well, this part completes the main dialog portion, and then we'll move on to the software and document management. The software and document management section provides access to the following features: ID setup, which is used to launch setup software for any GE Multilin device; document library to manage your support documents; software library, manage your software tools; and subscriptions to receive automatic notification of any news updates. So let's begin with the ID setup. There'll be a short video describing each one of the portions on the software and document management.
IED Setup allows you to set up any GE Multilin IED through one simple interface. If EnerVista setup programs have already been installed on your computer, then icons for those IEDs will automatically be available on the screen. By simply clicking on the product icons, the corresponding setup program will automatically be launched. If you wish to add a new setup program, simply click on the Add Product button to add the IED. Select the products that you wish to set up. In this case, the 369 is selected, and press Add Now. You will see the Setup Program Download Progress bar, and the installation program will be launched. Once you have completed the installation, you will see a shortcut to the setup program on the IED setup screen. Now all you have to do is double-click on the icon to access the IED setup program. Note that all installation programs downloaded are stored in the software library. The Check Updates button will check for all setup programs that are more recent than those that you have installed. A download screen will show you the available files. Check off the ones you wish to download and press Upgrade Now. To install the setup program, click on the executable file and complete the installation process. The user can check for updates automatically in Launchpad. This can be set up in the Preferences section. Click on the Options button and select Preferences from the drop-down menu. In the Auto Check Preferences section, the user can turn on or off the Check for Automatic Updates option. By default, this option is turned on. When Automatically Check for Updates is turned on, Launchpad will automatically check the web for updates for all IED setup programs installed, as well as all files that have been downloaded to the document and software library. This is a good way to ensure you have the most recent setup programs and documents downloaded. Note that the checks for updates are automatically initiated every time the application is opened. Naturally, this feature requires an internet connection. With the Automatic Check for Updates feature turned on, you will be notified of an update by an Upgrade button underneath the Setup Program icons in the IED Setup screen. Click on the Upgrade button to download the updated software. If the product has release notes available, you can view them by clicking on View Release Notes. You also have the option to set up a quick install option on the Preferences page that will allow you to perform a silent install for all GE software with predefined options. This will eliminate repetitive steps that are usually required each time a setup program is installed. Click on the Options button and select Preferences from the drop-down menu. In the Quick Install Preferences section, the user can select Yes or No to allow Launchpad to automatically agree to accept the software license agreement for the setup programs that you are installing. Once you select Yes, the Quick Install preference will be turned on. If you wish to change the default location folder for quick installed setup programs, you can change the program group and installation folder location for the software here. Now, with Quick Install enabled, you will be able to install full versions of setup programs without being prompted by the install program when installing the software. A new feature of EnerVista Launchpad is the ability to resume interrupted file downloads. During the download process, if for some reason the file stops before it is completed, for example, if you lost your internet connection, the next time you download the same file, it will continue where it left off. This configurable option is enabled by default and can be turned on or off by selecting the Support Resuming Interrupted Downloads checkbox in Launchpad's Preferences screen. If you have third-party software on your machine, you can also access it through Launchpad by clicking on the Create Shortcut button on the top of the screen. Here you can browse for the file, click on the executable, and press OK to see the shortcut appear. If you wish to delete a shortcut icon, you can right-click on it and delete the shortcut. The Launchpad Document Library is a centralized library of IED support documents. It is categorized into brochures, application notes, manuals, drawings, presentations, service bulletins, frequently asked questions, and guide form specifications. To get started, you must select the source from which you'd like to download the brochures. This could be a GE Multilin CD or the web. Next, select the product that you want support documentation for. We'll start with resources for the 369. Simply select the 369 in the product list and choose the corresponding support documents of interest on the right side of the screen. Click Check Now, and a list of available downloads will appear. You may select which of these files you wish to download by clicking their corresponding checkbox. If you want to select all of the files, you can use the Check All option and press Download Now to initiate the file downloads. If you wish, you can then view a document by clicking on the file from the download list. Remember that you are downloading files into the document library. To easily access the downloaded files in the future, all you have to do is open the document library and choose the resource that you want. In our example, we downloaded 369 brochures. You may wish to edit the products in your document library by adding or deleting resources and products. For example, suppose you want to add manuals, drawings, and guide form specs pertaining to the 369 to your document library. To do this, press the Add Edit Products button. Select the 369, check these resources off, and press Check Now. Review the list of available files and check off the ones that you wish to download. Once these files have completed downloading and you open the document library, you can view the downloaded files. Note that the drop-down menu at the top right corner of the screen is a convenient way to navigate through the document library. All resources that have been downloaded for the selected product, in this example, 369 brochures, manuals, drawings, and guide form specs, can be also accessed through this menu. Updates to the document and software library are product-specific and are shown within the Product Resource screen. For example, to update the application notes for a product, click on the Document Library icon, and then click on the Application Notes icon. Select the product you wish to check for application updates along the left side of the screen. If there are updated application notes for the selected product, click on the Detail button to download the updated documents. Another feature of the document library is the Check Updates feature. Press the Check Updates button. This feature checks for files on the web or from CD that are more recently updated than those in your document library. Click Check Now to initiate the search. All files that are more recent than those that currently exist in your document library will appear, and you may initiate the download if you choose. Recall that all downloaded documents are stored in the document library. You can also choose to copy a file and paste it in another directory on your hard drive or network. Simply right-click on one or more selected files and select Copy. Open Windows Explorer and paste it into the directory of your choice. EnerVista Launchpad also makes it very easy to email files. Again, all you need to do is right-click on one or more files and select Send to Mail Recipient. The file is automatically attached to a new message to be conveniently sent as an email. You can also customize the type of files that you choose to download. If there are certain files that are not of interest to you, you have the option to exclude them from future downloads. For example, suppose you want to exclude the German 369 brochure. Right-click on the file and press Delete. In the confirmation box, you'll notice an option to exclude the file from future downloads. Check off this option and press Yes. This tells Launchpad to no longer search for this file when checking for updates. Additional methods to customize how files are downloaded can be found in the Options menu under Preferences. You can choose to include searches for files of alternate languages if they are available by simply checking them off here. Also, you can specify preferences for manual types that are included in searches. The default is Full Manuals, which are complete product manuals. Files downloaded via Launchpad are stored in the directory shown here. You can choose to change this directory if you wish by clicking the Browse button and choosing another file path. Click on the Excluded Files button, and you will also see a list of excluded files categorized by document type. If you decide that you no longer want to exclude a file from future searches, simply check the box beside the file name to include it once again. The software library is similar to the document library, except that it is a repository dedicated to setup programs, firmware, and utility tools versus support documentation. To download software, click on the Add Edit Products button. Select a product from the list, for example, the 239. In the bottom right corner, you'll see Software Resources. Let's look for setup programs, firmware files, and utility tools. The download list will show applicable files. Check off Files of Interest and press Download Now. Note that when you download a setup program to the software library, you have only downloaded the installation file for that program. In order to install the setup program onto your machine, you must double-click on it to run the installation program. You can do that here on the View File screen, or find it available at any time in the software library under Setup Programs. While reviewing the list of setup software or firmware files for a product in your software library, a message will be displayed alerting you of new versions, if there are any available on the GE website. Press the Details button to display the list of updated setup software or firmware files for that product. The Update feature is a handy tool in the software library. If we click on the Check Updates button, a window that is defaulted to checking for setup programs opens. Note that software updates can also be checked from a GE Multilin CD if you have an updated one inserted in your CD-ROM drive. Click on Check Now, and a list of updated files will appear. You can check off the appropriate boxes to download the updated files. Firmware and utility tools can be checked for updates from their corresponding screens in the software library the exact same way. The subscriptions feature of EnerVista Launchpad is a convenient way to stay up to date on the latest product resources as soon as they are available. The email notification feature enables you to receive notification of updates to product resources that you have configured as soon as they are available. For this to work, you should first verify that your contact information is correct. If you already have a web subscriptions account set up from www.geindustrial.com/multilin, you can transfer your configured subscriptions into Launchpad by pressing the Import from Web button. Enter your web subscriptions login information, and your configured web subscriptions will be transferred for you to view and edit in EnerVista Launchpad instead of the web. If you don't have anything to import from the web, or want to set up additional products for email notification, the process is very simple. Start by pressing the Add Edit Products button. For example, if you wish to receive an email whenever there is an update to service bulletins or manuals for the 750, simply check these resources off. Save your selection to see the products you have configured for email notification. The list appears on the screen. If you wish to remove a product resource from email notification, press the Add Edit Products button and uncheck the resource you would like to remove. The resource is now removed from email notification. If you wish to subscribe to newsletters, check this off here. Whenever a software program or document that you have subscribed to becomes available, a blinking yellow LED and button appear on the main EnerVista screen. Once the Subscriptions Update button is clicked, a notification page will display which new files are available, giving you the option of selecting the files you wish to download. Note that you can find previously archived notifications by selecting the Notifications Archive icon in the subscription screen. Details of the notification can be viewed by clicking on the notification date. Schedule downloads. Optionally, you can activate Launchpad to automatically initiate scheduled downloads from the web. To set up periodical searches for your resources of interest, click the On button to turn the scheduler on. You'll notice an EnerVista program icon appear in your system tray. This means that at the frequency of your choice, Launchpad will check the web and automatically download configured product resources for you. Naturally, this feature requires an internet connection. Using the Add Edit Products button, select the resources you want to schedule for automatic downloads and save your selection. You have now configured the selected product resources to be automatically downloaded at the frequency you specified. In this example, you have configured Launchpad to check the web and download any updates to 469 and 269 service bulletins every Monday during noon hour.
One of the things I wanted to add to the subscription portion was that there is a small change. There's only two icons on the subscription side. There's only the email notification and the scheduling downloads. So one of the things that I wanted to add was, once you've listed all your different products here and selected the different items that are going to be downloaded, you have the option to have an email sent to you to indicate that that document has been downloaded. And similarly, one other thing that I wanted to talk about was under scheduling. How do we change the time from AM to PM? So the clock can be changed by selecting the individual parameters up or down. Same thing with this as well. So now we can actually go in there and change it from the time of day, the minutes, and the hours. The site management portion consists of 4 different sections. The device setup, where we do add, edit, modify most of your GE multi-link devices. The device management, where we can view key information about configured devices, see potential set point problems, and quickly access associated resources. The settings file management, where we can organize offline settings files, asset information, and supporting documentation. And the last one is the site reports, where we can view both current and historical reports of configured devices. So let's go in and take a look at each one of these different sections. Under device management, this is what the screen looks like. We can go in and we can set up our different sites, and we can add devices. We can also go in and discover UR relays, which is very similar to what we see in the UR setup program. We can delete different configurations here, either devices or the sites. And then the last screen is the save. So let's just go through with this live. So here we have the launchpad. We'll go into device setup. And once again, we have our add site, add a device, discover URs, delete, and save. I can come in here and add another site if I wish. Give it a name. and then that'll show up here. Then I can add a device. So I can add a relay. Let's say this is a pump. And then we can come in here and select the appropriate connection. Put in the IP address. Slave address, the Modbus port. Down here we select the type of device that we're dealing with. Let's select a 369 for instance. There's our list of versions. I'll just put this in manually because I don't have a 369 with me. And then once I select save, this will now be part of this configuration. When I come back to device setup, this is now here. For this other device here, I've already selected the F60. When you highlight the individual connections and you're connected to the relay, if you select the read order code, this light will indicate your connection. If it's gray, you're not connected. If there's a problem with the connection, this light will be red. If everything is good, then you'll get a green LED. Inside the resources, whatever you selected in for that particular device will also show up here under the scheduled downloads. If you wish to add more additional documents, you can also come over to the scheduled downloads portion, and you can also go down and select the appropriate devices that you're interested in. The next portion we'll look at is the device management. The device management provides the key information about configured devices. It alerts the user to potential issues with set points and provides quick access to associated information. So when we look at this screen here, we have the navigational tree lists all our devices. When we expand on any one of these devices, we'll get the information over here in the device setups application. It'll list the name, it'll list the order code, the firmware version, the serial number, and the year of manufacturing. The device health, this inspects the set points and actual values and compares it against the factory default values, and the bars will be different colors based on the status of those conditions. If we're at factory defaults, we'll get one color. If we have minimum settings, we'll get a different color. If we're fully compliant with that configuration, then it'll be a green color. So let's go into a little more detail and look at each one of the categories. The device security health indicator identifies whether unauthorized changes can be made to the device set points. Typically, there's two items that are considered: the password protection and set point lockout switch. As not all devices use these two security features, the actual logic will vary between device types. So the standard logic is as follows. If the bar here is red, then neither one of the features are preventing us from unauthorized access. If it's yellow, one of the two features are preventing unauthorized access. If it's green, then both security features are enabled, preventing unauthorized access. And gray, if it stays gray, it means that the security features are not applicable for the connected to device. The protection health indicator identifies whether protection elements have been enabled for the selected device. The standard logic associated with this is if it's red, then the CT primary is not configured, minimum requirements are not met, we're probably sitting at factory defaults. If it's yellow, then the CT primary has been configured, but the primary protection is not enabled, the relay is not ready, and contact outputs are not configured. If it's green, primary protection elements have been configured and linked to a contact output. If it's gray, then protection is not applicable for the connected to device. The fault diagnostics health indicator identifies whether the fault diagnostic elements are enabled. Fault diagnostic elements include the trace memory, oscillography, the fault report, the event recorder, and the data logger. So the standard logic for this one is if it's red, then of course there's no fault diagnostics elements enabled. If it's yellow, one fault diagnostic element is enabled. But of course you have to understand this is going to limit your ability to investigate the system fault. If it's green, then we have multiple fault diagnostic elements are enabled. 2 or more diagnostic tools are enabled. So that's what this is indicating. The gray basically is fault diagnostics are not applicable for the connected device. Next is the device status health indicator that shows the status of the installation set point. Most GE multi-lane devices have a set point that safeguards against the installation of devices without any entered settings. For example, in the UR family of products, there's a setting under Settings, Product Setup, Installation, Relay Settings that you have to change from not programmed to programmed. So as far as this status is concerned, the way the logic is set up for this is if it's red, the connected device is either not ready or not programmed. Green means that the connected device is either ready or programmed, and gray that this device status is not applicable for the connected device. If you have EnerVista Viewpoint maintenance installed on your computer, you have the ability to start the application by selecting the Launch Maintenance button. If you don't have it installed, it will prompt you to go to our EnerVista website to download it. We'll review Viewpoint maintenance later on. In device resources, when a device is highlighted under the product tree, device resources provide shortcuts to the already downloaded resources for the selected device in software and document management. You can double click the icon and it'll open that document in the document library. As more resources are downloaded into the software and document management, the additional shortcuts will be added to the device resources automatically. So let's go into the device management under the launchpad. We select this. These are all the different devices that I have already listed in my device setup. I have a connection with my incomer, so when I select this, it will go to the relay. It'll tell me what the name of the relay is, the order code, the firmware version, the serial number, the year of manufacturing. Here you can see I have a red bar for my device security, indicating that I have a security issue. If I select on the I button here, the information button, it'll explain to me what the situation is. If I select the one for the protection, it'll also indicate this, what's happening. The third item, I have a yellow. So I can click on the information here. It's explaining to me what my situation is here. And the last one is the device status. This is indicating whether my relay has been programmed or not programmed. Now, if I go in and change the configuration on my relay for the programming, changing it from not programmed to program, we'll see what happens when we do the update. I've now gone in and changed the programming inside and under the installation menu from not programmed to program. If I select refresh, this will now go back out to the relay and give me a different status. So now my device status is green. I still have an issue with my security. I can switch that on. One moment. I've now gone in and changed the security on the UR relay. And now it's providing an update. So what I've done here is I've turned on the password control for the command password and for the settings password in the UR, and changed the dual permission security access. For the device resources, when a device is highlighted under the product tree, like it is here, The data resources provides shortcuts to the already downloaded resources for the selected device in the software and document management. So you can double click on the icon and it'll open that particular document in the document library. As more resources are downloaded into the software and document management, the additional shortcuts will also be added here. So if I double click on, say, the manuals, for instance, my document library will open up and it'll list the manual here that I can go ahead and now open up. If I want to go back and open up, say, one of the service bulletins that are associated with it, I can double click on this and it'll list the service bulletins that are associated with this particular product. Okay. The next tab we'll look at is the settings file management. This allows users to manage offline settings files and asset information. It will list all the devices that you have previously set up. Now this is broken into 3 different sections: the device tree, asset management, and settings archive. Let's go in and take a look at each one of these sections. So the first one here is the device tree. It lists the sites and devices configured in a device setup. Within each site, devices can be categorized into groups such as transmission line, motor protection, digital metering, whatever you want to name it. If you click on the plus sign, you can expand it and click on the device to view the corresponding data from the other sections. You can right click on a device and select Get Device Settings File to import associated settings files from the setup software. This can be used to restore the files that were previously deleted from the list in the settings archive. Now, this is only grabbing settings files that are on your hard drive. So it's not actually going in and reading from your devices. It's actually extracting the files that were already stored on your hard drive. Next, we'll look at the asset management screen. The asset management allows you to add supporting information and documents for groups of devices. Information file entered in this section applies to all the devices in the same category as the selected device in the tree. All right. So the way we can modify we can edit the description of our device here by selecting this button here. So this is our edit button. You can edit the name, the type, and the ratings field. The next button over here is for adding a file to the asset supports document. Double clicking on the file will then open the file. If the file name or location is changed, Launchpad won't be able to locate it any longer. And then the last one here is the delete or remove, and it removes the selected file from the asset supports documents, but the original file won't be deleted from your hard drive. It'll be left in place. Okay, so this is just a link. The next part of this is the settings archive. The settings archive allows users to manage settings files associated with the selected device. Launchpad will automatically add settings files stored in the corresponding setup software. The order code is used to identify which settings to add. So when a settings file is selected under the settings file, it turns orange and the information on the file will be displayed above the list. Previously entered comments will appear under the comments tab. Any device support documents has the information associated with that specific device. So things such as the event recorder, the waveform capture, data logger, all of these would be stored associated with this particular settings file. If you've gone ahead and linked the different types of files with the different types of applications, double clicking on it will also open up that specific file. So here we are at the main screen. We'll go to settings file management and we'll expand on our device here, and I'm going to select the income array. In the assets management screen, we have this edit asset button where we can actually go in and change the text that's associated with this particular device. Once we're satisfied with the entry, we can hit OK. On the asset support documents, these are all supposed to be the same type of document. So if I'm dealing with a feeder, then everything that would be associated in here would be with the feeder. If I want to add a document, I can select this button by adding asset support documents. If I want to remove one, then I can select this particular button. So let's go ahead and add a document here. So I'm going to add in the F60 manual. This is located under EnerVista docs. I'm going to go into the manual portion, my F60, and I'm going to create the link to the F60 manual. So now it becomes present here. If I want to remove something that's not of interest, I can highlight it and select delete. Same thing with the settings files. These are settings files that are not collected from the relay, but they're actually extracted from the setup program. So if I want to remove this, once again here we have choices of adding and removing. If I can come in here, I can remove everything. If I come over to our document and right click on our file, we can go out and get the device file, and this goes to the setup program and extracts it from there in the offline window. So when I select that, it automatically brings it in and deposits it here. If I highlight the file, it turns orange and it displays the contents of the device. So as far as where it's located, the order code of the device, the firmware version, and the serial number. If you want to add some additional comments, we can make some changes here with this button here. This one allows us to go in and change some of the file flags, such as not installed or installed. This is referring to whether it's installed in a device or not. File version, and you can also add comments here as well. The last part here is the device support documents. Here, once again, we can add device support documents or remove them. If I want to do something to the effect of, say, adding let's say the event recorder, the contents of the event recorder, I've got it stored here. We'll select open. It automatically gets populated here. Now, if you have these files linked properly in your applications, you should be able to open these when you double click on them. So if I double click on my event, I have it linked to my URPC program, and it should automatically open it there. All right, let me close it down. So when you select event, what it'll do is it'll open up the application and it'll allow you to come in here and open the file. You'll select your event and be able to review it within the application itself. So now, how is this file management program affected if we have a second connection? So why don't we go ahead and do that? So we'll go back into our UR setup program. I'm going to create another connection. So I'm going to add another device. This will be my incomer B. With this one, I'm going to connect serially. And we'll go through the steps to connect. Okay, fantastic. Now we're going to go ahead and read the settings, and we're going to store them, and we're going to call them test 2. Open this up, and we'll just allow this to grab the settings from the relay. Now that we have this completed, we have our second file here. So let me close this down. If we come into our device setup and add this new device, sorry, that was my mistake. COM port 6, we'll indicate our type. We've got a green light indicating we have a connection. And we come down to our settings file. Device settings were changed. Do you want to save settings? Yes. So now we have this, and it automatically updates the settings file within the settings file management. The manual is still associated with the second feeder. The name is still the same. We've got the second settings file, and then we can add in all our different support documents that were captured from that particular device. So that's how that portion of it works. The last tab we'll look at under site management is the reports. The reports allow users to generate a basic report of all devices that are configured in launchpad. Every time a connection has been changed, it is updated in the report. So this is what the report looks like. It shows you what the latest report is. So what it does here is it shows the configurations created within the device setup. The updates are added to the device report with the year of manufacturing, the type, device name, the order code, the firmware version, and the serial number. Now, if any of this information is unavailable, then it is reported as NA. There's a second portion on here where it shows the historical reports. The historical reports record with a date and time stamp every time there was a change made within the report. So we're within the device setup within the connection itself. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. So here we are, the desktop again. We're going to reports. We can see that my latest connection here has had these different types of connections. And these are based on what I have here in the device setup. So if I take a look at the 369 pump A with this order code, if I come into my device setup, it actually refers to this particular connection right here. So it's showing pump A with the Ethernet interface and the connections. If I come back to my reports, when I expand on historical reports, this is a historian of all the different changes that I've made with every connection, the things that I've added, different devices that I've removed. So now if I come back and make a change in here, let's say I remove one of these devices. Come back and delete this site. Select save. This should be reported. So now you can see there's a new timestamp compared to what we had before. The last timestamp was this one here. This is where we had the 369 pump A. We've come back in here and it's now been removed. All right, so this concludes the launchpad portion of this presentation. The next application we'll take a look at is the EnerVista Viewpoint Maintenance. And Viewpoint Maintenance is a must-have tool for any integrator or electrical staff involved in power system protection and maintenance. This software increases the security of your relays, reports your device's operating status, and simplifies the steps to troubleshoot your device. The security audit trail feature in Viewpoint Maintenance can automatically track the details of settings changes to your relays. The traceability helps map out where a problem may have occurred and will help improve future maintenance procedures. It reduces the time required to perform maintenance on your device by receiving a report that shows health and operating status of your relays, meters, and power system being monitored. It can also reduce the time required to collect data for troubleshooting a fault with Viewpoint Maintenance. With the click of a button, Viewpoint Maintenance will gather all required information, including pertinent settings files, oscillography, events, fault reports, data logger, and health reports, and package it into a single compressed file to allow for easy sharing with engineers to assist with your fault analysis. So let's go into the different menus and take a look. Viewpoint Maintenance, the main menu is divided into 4 sections: device setup, fault diagnostics, security report, and status report. So we're going to go into each one of them and show how they're set up. So let's go to the first tab, device setup. So under device setup, this is where we go in like we normally would to set up all of our multi-client products. We have the ability here to add a site. So let me just delete this. We'll start from scratch. We can go in here, add a site. Then we'll select on add a device. The interface type. All right, we'll go down into read order code. And we have it there. So that's as simple as our device setup can be. If we want to add more products, we can do that as well. If we want to use the Discover for any UR relays that might be on the network. Okay, let's take a look at the default diagnostics next. The fault diagnostics tab looks like this. So when you open it up, you have a choice of either connecting to the relay through the device setup, or you can do your own quick connect. Set up in the same way, it's your choice. We can send an email to the GE customers technical support, and what this is the file extension .fdg, which is the same as that's created on the quick action bar. It will it allows us to do a service report based on your products. The EnerVista Viewpoint Maintenance has the ability to open up this file extension, this .fdg file. Okay. Under options, we have the ability to go in here and select which types of files we want to retrieve from your device. We can select the time frame that we're dealing with. So we can click on the pull down. There's a calendar here. We can pick and choose what time frame, what date that we want to work with. We can grab all the pertinent information. We can indicate where we want to store these files. And this is another area where you can store the files. So I'll select OK. Now what we'll do is we have a choice of either opening up one of those FDG files using this tab here to open the setup program service report, or we can generate one from our device. So let's do that. So it's going to go through and it's going to gather the settings files, the oscillography records, the event recorder, fault records, data logger, and any fault analysis reports that have been generated. So here are the records that we've got recorded. These are the different things that it saved. We can review them if we wish. If we check off any one of these items, it'll allow us to go in and review any of these items. So let's go into the event recorder just for instance. and automatically take us into the event recorder. The next item we'll look at is the security report. The security report is the item that actually gives us all of our pertinent information if there were any changes made in the configuration of the relay. So the first thing we'll do is we'll do an update. We'll go out there and grab the latest bit of information from the relay. We can take a look at the last report to see if there's anything that has changed. So this is the type of report that you get. Gives you the name of the relay, the type it is, the order code, firmware version, serial number, the IP address, and it goes through and explains the number of changes that occurred, the date and time when it occurred, the number of changes, was there a password being used, how you were connected to the relay, the form of communications, whether it was through an Ethernet connection or through the front port. It records the MAC address of the computer that it connected to. So whether you're connecting to the relay through the front port or through the Ethernet, it's recording the MAC address of the computer. Settings change. It indicates what type of event occurred. If there was a firmware update, it would indicate what the file name was uploaded. Is the device in service or not? The firmware version. And then further down in details, it explains what was changed. So session 12, let's go back up for a moment, indicates that there were some changes that occurred. There was 5 of them during this time. So things such as somebody's turned on the TOC operation, directional. So all the target was changed from self-resetting to latch. So all this pertinent information is being recorded every time that there's a change as it occurred. So let's go further down the list. It's just showing more detail from previous changes. Okay, so that gets automatically generated as a PDF. The next part of this, you can also look at reports generated at different times. If I had some more reports generated, I could look at other ones as well. In this last portion, I can set up the range of the window that I want to look at as far as the security report is concerned. If I want to look at what's happened, say further back over a longer length of time, I can go back as far as I want based on the calendar. So if I click on View, I've gone back to 3 days ago. When I select on View, then I'll be able to see every change that occurred within the relay in one large report. So everything that I was doing here over the past 3 days is now recorded. How I'm connected to it, what was changed, firmware, settings, and then further down on the list, we have all the details as to what those particular changes were with a date and time stamp, what Modbus address was actually affected by those changes. Okay, that's a great report. So in the event that for some reason something unusual has occurred and it's unexplainable, one of the first things I would do is run the maintenance report and just determine to see if there's any changes that occurred at the time of this unpredicted incident. Okay. The last thing we'll look at is the status report. So the status report does just that. It allows you to pick and choose which product you want to be looking at, and it'll do a live report of what's going on with your device. So it's gone out and taken a snapshot of all the parameters that are on my relay. Once again, giving us a nice PDF, color PDF, indicating all the pertinent information about the relay status, what's going on as far as the statuses on the relay, if there's any events that are going on. So this relay is in service. There's no trips or alarms going on currently. So as a result, there's no faults being displayed. It'll give you a display of the voltage and currents that are being injected. So you're getting a health report status of what's going on inside the relay as well. There's a phasor diagram indicating the power. Your powers are listed, your power factors, three-phase and individuals, phases. You've got your three-phase power demand, apparent, real, and active. What's live, and then what your maximum values were as well, with a date and time stamp when the last maximum occurred. Same thing with the current demand for each one of the phases, what's live, and then what was the maximum value of each and every one of those with a date and time stamp. There's three-phase energy that's being listed as well. Positive watt hours, negative watt hours, positive VARs, negative VARs. And it would list all the other sources as well, depending on how they were programmed. So this is the extent of this report. Okay, so that's the end of the Viewpoint maintenance presentation. I wanted to finish off the EnerVista presentation with just reviewing a couple of the other applications that are part of the EnerVista family. The next one is EnerVista Viewpoint Monitoring, and it's easy to set up, and it's a powerful data monitoring recording software application that provides an overall integrated view of an electrical system. So with minimum device communication configuration, it collects critical real-time and historical disturbance data to assist with analyzing past or impeding power system events of GE and non-GE devices. So we not only collect real-time data, we also collect waveforms, sequence of event recorder data. We can control and monitor the status of switches and breakers. We can set up an enunciated panel to notify the operator that an abnormal condition has occurred and send the status to 5 email addresses. There's a data logger with a 1-second resolution built into it. And it also records its own system events in the event that something goes wrong within the system itself. Next, I want to just quickly talk about EnerVista Integrator. This is another application that's available. This is a comprehensive communication engine for rapid integration. It enables the seamless integration with GE Multilink devices for new or existing automation systems through tested, pre-configured memory maps. Integrator significantly reduces the time and effort required to obtain device events and waveform data for integration with an HMI, SCADA, or DCS system. The OPC server with the EnerVista Integrator is designed to provide seamless integration of multi-link devices into any new or existing monitoring or control system. With tested pre-configured memory maps for multi-link devices, EnerVista Integrator eliminates the significant effort required for programming of all the mnemonics associated with HMI, SCADA, and DCS system integration, greatly reducing the commissioning time and cost of an OPC server. So the integrator is basically the engine that is being used in Viewpoint monitoring. So once again, in Viewpoint monitoring, we were having all the data being extracted from the individual relays, and the integrator is the actual engine in the background that's pulling all the data. And last but not least, in the EnerVista family, we have Viewpoint Engineer. And this is a set of tools that will allow you to manage, configure, and test your UR and UR Plus relays at a system level in an easy-to-use graphical drag-and-drop environment. So this software will streamline the steps required to configure devices, commission relays, and manage the assets in your power system. It's basically a setup program on steroids. So what this thing allows us to do, as you can see here in the diagram, is it allows us to build a flex logic diagram using a drag-and-drop technique. Based on that, it reduces a lot of the time needed to create complex logic schemes. Engineer also configures your 61850 devices using a single application. Engineer is available for the 3 different types of relays, the UR, the UR Plus, and the MM300 relays. Now, one of the things that a lot of people may not realize that as of version 7.1, the EnerVista Setup Engineer is now free. It doesn't cost anything. It's no longer licensed. It's free of charge to use. So I encourage you to download the Engineer version of the UR program and the UR Plus and MM300s. It will drastically increase the speed of your Flex Logic creation projects. And with this, we'll end this session, and we'll open up the lines for questions. Well, this brings the session to a closure. Before you go, I would like to thank you for attending this session, and we hope you found it useful and informative. With these sessions, there is not always enough time to answer all the questions or cover all facets of a topic, so please look out for our future technical webinar offerings as we continue to build our webinar course library. In this regard, we want to stay connected with you. We can do this through various medias, for example, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, through subscription to our newsletter, our web pages, or simply drop us an email. We do listen to your feedback, and staying connected helps us to meet your growing needs. If you register to this technical webinar session, you will receive an email when we post a recorded version of the webinar to YouTube. Here there will be a link to our survey and provide us feedback on how we are doing. So please take advantage of the survey opportunity. With that, I say goodbye for now, and I hope you have a wonderful day or evening depending on which time zone you are in. Thank you and goodbye.